Trailers, a short preview for a piece of content which gives a general gist about what the final product is like. That is the base meaning of trailers, which is used for movies, series, and video games. They are used to promote and garner interest from fans of that certain piece of content or people who haven't heard about them before. It is a means of advertisement whose sole purpose is to create hype around the content so people keep talking about it. This method is somewhat used by artists while promoting their musical work too. Well, there isn't something inherently wrong about all this, but there are certain aspects to trailers that is used for promotion that I find pretty stupid. So, y'all know the drill by now. Get ready for my stupid ass to babble about something insignificant. Let's start with movies and series, as they were one of the main reasons I decided to make this video. I'm not gonna talk about series that much because I don't watch them a lot. They're a bit too long for my ADHD brain to handle. And when I say that, I don't mean that I don't like movies with longer watch time or with slower pace. It's just that I'm not a big fan of the general premise behind series, unless it's done right and there is a purpose and reasoning behind why it is made in a serial format. There is a lot to say about this, and that is a video for another day, so I'm gonna try to stay in topic. So, movie trailers. The concept of showing a trailer for a movie started in the early 1900s. The first one being for a musical called Pleasure Seekers, which was shown in a theater chain owned by Marcus Loew. The advertising manager, Niels Granlund, produced a short promotional film which was going to be shown in the Winter Garden Theater on Broadway, which at that time was an entirely new concept and was called a unique stunt. And as the time went by, the face of motion picture trailers was getting changed. Around 1960s, montages and quick editing became a commonplace in trailers. A trend which was popularized by Stanley Kubrick was inspired by Arthur Lipset. Kubrick, along with Pablo Ferro, made some great trailers for movies like 2001: A Space Odyssey and A Clockwork Orange. It was in the 1990s when trailers started to appear in the internet. Walt Disney Company being the first one to pioneer a move into the digital world, but long gone are the days when promoting movies through trailers was a necessity. The internet now is a dog-eat-dog world, and its users have lesser attention span than the people had before. Not to go all boomer mode, back in my days, as I am one of those people. Amongst all the reasons that I dislike about movie theaters, the interruption in random moments is in the top. There are unnecessary long ads before the movie starts. I don't know how, but they find the most annoying ones to put there. And then there is the intermission between the movie. It is so annoying, and they always do that in between some random scene. Nobody likes that. And if it was done online, I can assure you that most of the people would just skip it. So how can you get the attention of the young generation who get their entertainment via 5 to 6 seconds of clips? Big names with their faces in the thumbnail and showing more than enough to entice the audience into watching their movie instead of all the others. Movies with new ideas, who experiment with their work and delve into different concepts, aren't the ones who get rewarded nowadays. The ones with relevant and trending actors and actresses with big franchises get more attention. The quantity is more focused than the quality, as the former one will bring in more profit. The competition that this brings has led to trailers being less of a preview and more of a mini movie, which showcases almost everything that the plot has to offer to hook in more viewers. As the saying goes, the less you show, the more they wonder. Rather than creating a mystery around the movie through their trailers so they can generate curiosity, they just pick the intense scenes from the movies and mash them up into a minute or so. The whole thing is just stupid. I mean, the number of trailers that they release is obnoxious. First, they will hype you up with a small teaser trailer. Then they will release the official trailer, and then they release official trailer 2. If only they would have put more effort in the storyline of the movie rather than its promotion. Then we wouldn't have so much city movies getting released every year who just waste their resources. Out of all the genres that movie has, two of them face this problem the most. It is the mystery / thriller and horror movies. Movies of this genre heavily rely on the suspense factor. If it is a murder mystery and the trailer shows who are gonna get murdered, then the movie will lose some of its grasping factor of who is gonna die. Thriller movies thrive on the factor of anticipation of something happening. If the trailer ruins it by giving away the surprise part of the movie, then it just becomes a hollow husk. And then there are horror movie trailers. These are just on another level. Long gone are the days when compelling plotline used to carry the movies. It has been replaced by jump scares.
series of visions when I was younger. And after each one ended, the same thought would be stuck in my head.
Hi, sisters! And cliches that most of the horror movies tend to use. And you know what is worse than a cheap jump scare? Using that in a trailer. Whatever value that the movie had to offer is gone. They are so desperate to get people watching their movies that they just ruin the overall experience that it might have had. There are so many movies like this who hit a nail in their own leg by making a bad or overhyped trailer. An example of it can be Ready or Not. It is a good slasher horror movie starring Samara Weaving as the protagonist. There aren't that many problems in the movie, but if you decided to watch the movie after watching the trailer, then half of the stuff will be ruined for you. It is one of those movies where people want you to not watch the trailer and just go straight to the movie. Another one that comes to mind is Night Hunter. It had a star-studded cast, but faced the similar problems that Ready or Not had. The trailer was a mess. The music wasn't compatible with the atmosphere. And it just showed way too much than it should have shown. The premise looked good, but even the big names couldn't save this movie from being a flop. Overhyped trailers reminds me of a movie that was released in the start of this year, The Little Things, starring Denzel Washington, Jared Leto, and Rami Malek. Even with those big names, the movie wasn't well received among the general public. But has that stopped anyone from making trailers like this? No. Most horror movies that are getting released in recent times use the same eerie music in their trailers, show some jump scares, and get the hype train running, and when they eventually get released, most of them go downhill. And as for thriller and mystery movies, they all look and feel the same. Same plot line with different poster thrown in just to make an easy cash grab. Personally, I have stopped watching trailers of movies like this. I wait for them to get released, and if they get decent ratings, then I give it a watch. It saves so much time. Even though you might be a person who likes to form their own opinion about a movie rather than watching something with good ratings, you have to agree that it requires a good amount of time to do that. And for that reason, I love watching old movies or the foreign ones. Most of them don't have a trailer available online, and majority of the time, the movies are actually good. Let's move on from movies and get to another form of content. Trailers for video games. Around the same time when movie trailers started to get posted online, video games trailer was becoming a thing of its own too. The issues in video game trailers aren't as big as there are in movie trailers. Some of the prevalent ones can be misleading in some core gameplay mechanics, where the trailer shows something greater than the game itself has to offer, which is a big problem among AAA games, as they tend to say a tad bit too much about something that they technically can't offer. And another being the graphics that are usually shown in the trailers, which isn't the same as the game, because they tend to use cinematic rendition in trailers to make their game look even better. These problems are usually prominent in the games made by the massive game developers who know that even if they sell a subpar game, their fanbase will buy it. Personally, I don't have much problem with these, as I don't buy games from those type of developers. If I think about it, I don't have any problems with video game trailers. Watching trailers and getting on board with the hype are long gone days for me. Usually, I go by the rating in here too. If I see a game that I think I will enjoy or which is played by some of my favorite YouTubers, then I just go for it. Because I think there are so many games whose trailers don't do a justice to them. Some of the games have so much to offer that can't be captured in a 2-minute trailer. Even though video game trailers tend to create a lot of traction towards the game, I think that those aren't that important as to how the game will perform in the market. If it did, then we wouldn't see indie games do so well in terms of sales. Most of the highly rated games in Steam are indie titles who focus more on the gameplay rather than the promotional side of the production. Moving on from video game trailers to an entirely different thing. Promotional side of music industry. This is a different kind of a mess. Not the overall situation, but certain aspects of it. Usually, artists promote their music via social media by giving out a certain date of the release. And I'm talking about albums here. Singles don't tend to have this problem. Some of them try to be creative and release trailers to give us a preview about what is to come. If it is done in the right way, then it is pretty welcome. The already established ones sometimes feel that they don't need to promote their albums and release it out of nowhere. It has been done in the past, and in terms of sale, it does well. But then, there are the ones who promote their albums by releasing a song from that album, which in itself isn't a bad idea. It gives us a general feeling of what the album might be. But that works well with albums who are trying to convey a certain feeling to its listener. There are albums to listen to when you're feeling down, after a breakup, or just to get that summer feeling. That doesn't work well when your album is trying to tell a story or paint a bigger picture. There are albums which have a couple of bangers in the midst of mediocre songs, and you can just play the good ones and ignore the others. But some albums are better listened from the start till the end, and if it has good sequencing and looping, then it just gets better. And if you listen to those albums by shuffling it, then you are a monster.
Truly disgusting that some people would do this horrible thing.
Well, the problem arises when the artists decide to release a song from such album before the album releases. It just ruins the experience that it could have had when listened from the album. It's like you already know what the climax of the movie is, but you don't know what the movie is about. It is a stupid way that some artists choose to promote their albums like this. And for what? To make a couple of more millions to add in their already inflated bank accounts. So, in conclusion, trailers tend to be stupid nowadays. Even if they know the problems that it creates, they seem to look past it and ignore all the mistakes that were made by others. Are they gonna learn? I don't think so. As long as they keep making profits out of it, they will continue it. The best suggestion I could give is to try to ignore all the hype that surrounds it. Not being in any social media kind of helps. And just don't give in all the hope just by watching a trailer. Most of the time, it's misleading.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
So that's it, and bye, I guess.
He's just standing there, menacingly!